Welcome back to the Barrel Talk podcast. We are back with another episode. Right now, by the time we're recording this, Game 7 is officially pretty much in the books. Cavs are moving on. Donovan Mitchell gets to his first conference finals ever. James Harden gets back there to face the Knicks. Wolves, OKC starts tomorrow night, or pretty much by the time you'll see this, it'll start tonight for that series in the Western Conference. But we can jump right into kind of Cavs Pistons, a brutal series. I feel like after a 7-game series, it's going to be a tall task to face a New York Knicks team that was sitting down, resting for the past week, especially a physical series like this one. What are the takeaways from just this series? Because there wasn't too much to talk about for the Game 7.
I'll go quick and I'll say it might have been because Thursday there was a day off. But like you said, a brutal series. Like that felt like one of the longest playoff series I've seen in a while. A mix of there being a day off, the Knicks getting the sweep. So it's like that's the only thing we're watching in the East. It just felt like that dragged on so long. Not saying it was a bad series. I enjoyed the series a lot. Game 7 obviously was a little bit of a letdown. And stuff like that just happens in Game 7s. It feels like weirdly. I think you said that before we started recording, Corey. But no, I really like the series. My main takeaway here is really just the level of X factor James Harden is for the Cavaliers. Because thinking ahead, and we'll get more into it, I'm not out on like having a chance against the Knicks, even though I think the Knicks are an absolute powerhouse now. Because my question has not been with how Cleveland matches up on paper to New York and the players they have. It's more been, is James Harden going to show up? Is Donovan Mitchell going to play at his elite level? What's Jared Allen going to bring? They finally made the change tonight and started Max Strus over Dean Wade, if I'm not mistaken. I think this was the first game they've done that. I really like that move. Max Strus it was more of the Sam Merrill show for them depth-wise tonight, but I think the Cavs got good depth. I mean, they're not even playing Jalen Tyson and Keon Ellis, and they're handling business. And I'm really looking forward to the next series, I gotta say.
They're going to need to play Keon Ellis in this next series.
That's what we said last time, though.
But I think more
They
now.
didn't play.
Brunson, you're not throwing Sam Merrill on Brunson, and like Brunson's just going to eat. Like you can't throw these light, shorter guards on Brunson. If you're not putting size and strength on Brunson, he's just going to have his way with any guard that's like that size. At least Keon Ellis is, at this point, I don't even know what Kenny Atkinson thinks of Keon Ellis. Like, it seems like they just did that trade for Dennis Schroeder, who I also believe is a good pickup. But to get to the back half of the series, and I know they won a Game 7, it's just like, no way you go into a series against Jalen Brunson and not play somebody like Keon Ellis.
Are they going to start with Max Strus
I hope so.
on him?
He's getting fried.
I mean, yeah, you can say that. They did a pretty solid job of at least making it hard on Cade. I know it helps that Cade doesn't really have any good offensive players to play with. Jalen Brunson's going to have OG and McCall's hitting the shots, and then obviously Cat kind of running more of the offense. So it's going to be a way different look. They're not going to be able to get away with just having Max Strus play as hard as he can, guarding a guy or Dean Wade. You know what I mean? So I'm with you on that.
I just think in a series where it's not so easy to just focus in on the star like it is with Detroit, and looking at like how they're fine leaving a Star Thompson to have Evan Mobley roam, or whoever his defender is, roam around the court and be able to throw doubles and be in passing lanes more. They're not going to be able to do that with the Knicks, especially because Brunson, yes, he has the ball in his hands a lot, but with Cat being the hub of the offense in this playoff run, like they're not going to be able to just like put these guys on and just be able to help side all the time. Not with how Mikal Bridges is playing. OG Anunoby coming off injury was lights out pretty much up until the injury, and I expect him to be back at some point in this series. Cat's been lights out. Like their bench has been great. Like, and then when it comes down to it, like I just worry about the defenders for Jalen Brunson, like, because they're not going to be able to just throw doubles like they were throwing doubles at Cade and like leaving these guys wide open. And I think it's going to be a whole different series, and it's going to be kind of a wake up call. And I'm not going to be surprised if Tuesday I think the series starts and I'm like, those first 2 games in New York are pretty ugly for Cleveland, because it's just a whole completely new style and series they're going into after 7 games too.
I agree with Corey there. I don't think it's going to be a really good series for Cleveland, especially like, the way that the Knicks are looking right now. They're rested. Like everything is kind of going against the Cavs right now.
Now, the Knicks can implode, and we've seen that happen plenty of times with teams. I'm not saying it's not going to be a competitive series, But I think game 1 could just be Knicks just get out early, and then Cavs are still like in the resting mindset, like we got to regroup from last series kind of thing.
You almost just give them.
Like it'll be like the Sixers and Knicks game 1 that we just got in the second round, like that. How that one turned. Maybe not that blowout, but like I think it's just like Knicks win by like 10 plus, like handedly a little bit.
Here's my thoughts and my pushback I'll give to this. And I know you didn't mean like it's going to be just like Sixers Knicks game 1, or I know you're not saying that series is going to be like that, like a sweep. Maybe you do think that, but
no, it's going to go the distance. I think the start could be rough a little bit.
I have some I just am, and this is maybe just dumb thoughts. This could just be not like a nothing burger, but for whatever reason, if I'm a Knicks fan. And I honestly have been kind of cheering for the Knicks for whatever reason. I want to see them in the finals. You can say what you want about the rest, and I know what you guys might argue and say rest is everything. Something about the way they were playing, though, was so good. I would just wish we could just keep playing, because I'm not saying the rest is going to hurt them, but a chance it's
there's something to momentum as well.
Maybe. And also, the Cavs are only playing better and better as these playoffs go on. I know they just went the distance game 7, and they're definitely going to be fatigued. I mean, that's real. Like, you obviously would rather be the Knicks or OKC, who have had the rest and are playing less games. The Cleveland Cavaliers, I've said it on this show multiple times. After the James Harden trade, they never really played games with their full lineup together. What did they do in the Toronto series? They did that. They won all their home games, struggled on the road. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Game 2, ugly. Or games 1 and 2 in Detroit, ugly. Then they kind of hit their stride. They're figuring it out. And then we just watched them lay it on the Detroit Pistons on the road in Game 7, when we were saying this whole time, James Harden can't perform in the playoffs. The Cavs can't win on the road. Well, golly, James Harden's performing, and the Cavs are blowing teams out on the road. They just blew out the 1 seed Detroit Pistons on the road. And I know they're a better roster than Detroit. You can say all you want, but something about the way the Cleveland Cavaliers are playing. I think I said Cavs in 7 over Detroit. Maybe Cavs in 6. I think all of us were kind of like Cavs in 6 or 7. Maybe one of us picked. Maybe I picked it. Maybe I picked Detroit. Maybe Detroit. I'm pretty sure I picked the Cavs. Anyways, I've been wrong before, and New York looks like a team that can win the finals. And I don't know if I'm going to pick Cleveland over New York, but man, I think this is going to be a really good series. And man, is it alarming to me, where I thought this was going to be a boring ECF, to how every game I watch the Cavs, it feels like they improve from the one they played before.
I just think the Cavs are going to have to get a little bit more consistent. Yeah, Donovan Mitchell had a great game tonight. Jared Allen had a great game tonight. Evan Mobley had a great game tonight. And Detroit's defense is stout. Not taking anything away from that, but there's just a lot of
tonight.
Yeah, a lot of moments where Donovan Mitchell just felt invisible out there. Couldn't get it going. James Harden was terrible again tonight. 2 for 10, 0 for 6, had 9 points. Yeah, five rebounds.
They were blowing them out the whole game. I mean, we can put a microscope on a performance in a legitimate basketball game where it's going the distance. I'm okay with that, but I'm not gonna look at shooting.
No, I get that. I get that point. I just want to see James Harden be more consistent. James Harden and Donovan Mitchell need to be way more consistent.
Game 7 too, yeah.
Yeah. They just need to be more consistent. That's all I'm looking for the Cavs. If they can be more consistent, they'll be fine.
Their opponent is about to take a big step up. Like it's a big step up from what I was just watching out of the Pistons and what we're going to see out of the Knicks.
I almost feel like it's showing that Cleveland has a higher ceiling than people are giving them credit for. If your two best, I mean, I say 2 best players, I'd put Mobley in that category over Harden maybe, but when your 2 of your guys don't show up and you still handle a team, that gives OKC vibes. Chill, I'm not saying that, but you know what I mean. Like, that's teams that can win the finals can blow a team out and just have random guys showing up and clicking. I'm not saying Sam Merrill's going to show up and shoot 7 for 9 from 3, whatever the fuck he did, but I don't know. Something about the Cavs, I'm starting to fall in love with them a little bit. I'm obviously been a Donovan Mitchell guy, but I don't know.
Can I jump to Detroit and say that this is a blessing in disguise? Because we're gonna.
Corey's be thinking of shit.
No. I'm gonna bring this up when we talk about Minnesota. I was thinking about this like while I was watching the game. Is like, yeah, they're getting blown out. Game 7, home floor, 1 seed, right? And in a big like, they had higher expectations this year, but I don't think anybody was thinking Detroit could win the finals this year. with their current constructed roster. But like, imagine they get out of this game, and then for some reason, kind of like their matchup with the Cavs, their matchup with New York was great throughout the regular season, and they pushed the Knicks like 5 or 6 games. This is a blessing in disguise because it's going to force Detroit to want to go get a number 2 for real. Because they didn't do it at the deadline. Imagine if they went to the conference finals and was like, we're kind of going to stay pat. And then the Pacers come back next year.
I hear you.
And like Boston comes back next year. I just want to, this forces them to kind of not go all in for like a superstar, but like we need to obviously add some more offense. We need to take a load off Cade Cunningham for sure on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah, Dennis Jenkins is a good backup rotational guard, but we need to bring another solidified guard in here that can handle. And I think like you have question marks about Jalen Duren because Jalen Duren had down moments. Like he got outplayed by Wendell Carter. He was getting DMPs in the fourth quarter and getting outplayed by Paul Reed. Like this series. Yeah, you could say it's a matchup thing, but it was against the Cavs and the Magic where he was just bad.
If you're worth all that money, you show up against Mobley and Allen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's lost. It's almost to the point where like not saying like anything, but he's going to be like a restricted free agent guy. What if some team throws Jalen Duren a fucking bag and it's like 35, 40 mil?
I think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think
I'm not matching that. After what I just saw, I can't match that.
If the Clippers take a Damar at 5, don't be surprised if Atlanta throws money at Jalen Duren.
Yeah, like or Chicago, who has $60 million in cap space and avoid at the center spot. Like,
yeah, maybe Atlanta doesn't have cap space. I just threw that out there.
Right.
I just think
I don't know if you're matching that.
Like, what's the number? Is it if they're offering Duren, who's not a floor spacer, who just had 2 down series in the playoffs, some team offers him $30 a year. Like,
if I'm a team though, and I know they had Cade, but if I feel like I have good offensive players and I don't need 20 and 10 out of Duren, I need 15 and 10, and you know what I'm saying? Or like you kind of get what I'm going for. Like I don't need Duren to be my second option, but I need a center bad. Like maybe I'm interested in him, and I'm not looking too deep into this because I think there's a lot of things we can give Cade Cunningham all the shit in the world for turning the ball over all the time. He's got to do everything for them, and that's part of what I'm trying to getting into about how he has to create for Jalen Duren. But there's nothing wrong with that. Listen, we can make fun of Jalen Duren all we want, but we don't. What do we expect him to fucking bring the ball down the court like Cat and make plays for the offense? No, like it was a rough offensive situation that got exposed in the playoffs. I don't think it's just only exposing Jalen Duren as a basketball player. I just think it exposes what type of buckets he was able to get all season because now when you have a series, 7-game series, I think they just went back-to-back to 7-game series where teams are able to game plan against you offensively. It just isn't going to look the same as regular season. That's okay. You're a center, but I don't know.
They also probably played the 2 toughest opponents because Orlando has as much size and athleticism to match up with them in the front court. And the Cavs having Mobley and Allen does make it tough. I'm not saying Jalen Duren didn't have like a tough matchups at all, but I'm just saying like you're an all-star caliber big getting put into some combos now of like top centers in the league, like in those combos because you're an all-star center now on a 1-seeded Pistons team. You're expected to produce more than you did in these first 2 rounds. And now it's to the point where you're a restricted free agent. And I think Detroit's going to bring him back. But there's also teams where I was talking about it like in my free agent episode. It's like the center market's so thin. It's where we're talking about teams trading up for a Day Mara. That's how thin the center position is right now in terms of a good rim protecting 5-man. To where it's like, I'm not shocked if I see Jalen Duren has 3-4 offers from like multiple suitors for like 30 plus a year.
The Lakers?
Right.
Lakers, Chicago, like the Clippers, like there's going to be teams that want to throw bread and it might have to be some sort of sign and trade. Like, so you're not losing him for absolutely nothing. But I just have question marks about like, not really their roster because Asar Thompson's a dog. I want to see Ron Holland get a little bit more burn next season. Maybe his shot grows and his offensive game grows. But I think it is crazy. Like if the Thompson twins don't develop, both of them, some sort of outside shot, their teams will always have a weakness. With everything they give them defensively, their teams will always have a weakness that they're on, that they can be exploited.
Yeah. Sadly,
because that was the difference maker in this series was some of those minutes with Asar Thompson and whoever's defending him can just roam and be in passing lanes. Like, yeah, he's a monster on the glass too, but like it's different being like Cade can't get to the paint because Asar's guy is legit sitting on the block. and it's Evan Mobley. Like, it's just kind of tough.
They
I think that's
also-
the next step.
Yeah. The other thing to mention how they did play two tough teams. Like Orlando projected to probably win more games than Detroit going into the season. Cleveland
They were.
was the most efficient and best offense in basketball last season, who added James Harden to it this year. I know it looked clunky at times, but it's just tough.
And I think, not saying they got bailed by the Orlando series, but Franz Wagner not playing in the back half of that series definitely gave them the ability to get out of that one.
Yeah.
They would not have beat them with Franz. No.
So I think it was 3-1. I'm not even saying that overall, just because it was 3-1. No shot.
Because that game 5 where Paolo had that crazy ass game, Franz helps close that game and close that gap late.
Yeah.
So I just think the Detroit Pistons blessing in disguise, go get a number 2 this offseason, assess the Jalen Duren market. But I think you're still in a fine spot. I just really love what they have on the wing. I like Dennis Jenkins. I like Duncan Robinson on this team for spacing. I think Tobias Harris he's like a free agent guy, but you can bring him back to finish his career out there in Detroit. I like that. Asar is obviously a dog. Ron Hollins, I think, is going to be a dog. I'm high on him off that bench. But like, they got to find a way. I don't know who the second option is. Like, Marcus Sasser gave some run in the series as well, but they need to like get some more scoring and more offense in that building to help Cade Cunningham out.
Desperately.
What about, well, I just had a thought. I just had a crazy thought. I don't want to get too crazy. We got so much offseason stuff we'll be doing over the summer, but I was thinking of, and they would have to give up more than just this, but because Boston needs a center so badly, I'm trying to think of a way to get Jaylen Brown to Detroit with Cade.
I don't think Boston is trading Jaylen Brown to another Eastern contender.
You're probably
unless
right.
It's for like Giannis.
Because I was going to bring up Jaylen Brown for Minnesota in a little bit too. So, yeah.
I think that makes more sense than, because if you're Boston, trading Jaylen Brown to Detroit makes them better than you. Yeah, they'd have to find a Duren. Yeah, depends on they'd have to find a Duren replacement, but you still have Isaiah Stewart. You have a go-to number 2 option. Like, they'd be better than Boston next year.
No, yeah, it was a dumb idea. Now I think about it, to be honest, Boston would not do that. Brad Stevens also is not losing a trade.
I'm glad
I was
you
just
brought that
thinking
up,
of
though.
different second options that could be. But Jaylen Brown's over being a second option. I think unless it's for like Anthony Edwards. I mean, 2 Georgia guys, not the college, but both from Atlanta. They'd probably like playing with each other. The Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum thing is rubbing me the wrong way so much about Jaylen Brown. Just send his ass to Milwaukee while they're rebuilding or something, or send his ass to a shitty team so we can stop. I'm tired of hearing that shit. That's another rant.
I'm glad you brought that up, though, because we can kind of pivot, because Minnesota did get eliminated. Spurs are going on to the finals, conference finals. But we can talk about what's next for Minnesota, because they're also in a spot to where, like, I think there's only so many times you can run back the same core. We're talking about a team that went to back-to-back WCFs, just lost in the second round. I think Julius Randle's play this series is a big reason why they lost, because I think Anthony Edwards played well enough. He just didn't have Jaden McDaniels. Jaden McDaniels super inefficient this series. Julius Randle terrible this series. A lot of that was due to just Wembanyama, just Randle's play style and Wembanyama's defense just kind of being a tough matchup there. And then it's just like Rudy Gobert. It's like you want to play him, but you kind of want that spacing a lineup to take him away from the basket so guys can't get to the basket. So I think it ended up being a bad matchup once San Antonio figured it out. But what's next for Minnesota? Because I got their like cap sheet sitting right here on my second screen, and I'm kind of looking at it like, has Rudy Gobert gained value a little bit off that first round series against Jokic?
Yeah, probably.
And he was still solid. Like like Rudy Gobert and Wembanyama, that's a tough matchup for any big in the league. But like Rudy was still solid in this series. He's basically on kind of a 1-year option because he has $36.5 million next year and a $38 million player option. I don't think they move him because I think he's too essential to the core of that team and that defense, that backline defense. I do think Randle.
I think it's Randle that has to go.
I think they're gonna pair. They could possibly pair Randle and DiVincenzo up to make a big swing because DiVincenzo's hurt, unfortunately, probably for most of next year. And now you have Ayo Dosunmu, who you're gonna bring back, who can fill that role, and you can go get another guard. Like, I think that's the route they go. But I don't know who the second option is. I think Jaylen Brown might be. I just don't know how they get there. I don't think Boston's interested in Julius Randle or like anything like that.
You send Randle and McDaniels.
Randle and DiVincenzo. My fault.
That's not getting Jaylen Brown.
McDaniels and Randle and a pick, or you don't have a pick against.
I'm not giving up McDaniels.
I think McDaniels and Randall is a legitimate package to get Jalen Brown. If you're telling me you pair Jason Tatum, Jalen McDaniels, and Julius Randle all on the court at once, that's 3 6'10s. That's pretty aggressive.
Randall just is not a Missoula guy.
He's not at all. I agree with you. It's going to be real easy for us to shit on Julius Randle at any destination, to be honest. I think that there is some good things that he does on the court. I'm not fully out on him as a guy being able to play well. I think it was a tough matchup for him. Here's the deal, though. I'll say this. Minnesota, if Ant's fully healthy, there's less pressure on Randle to have to make plays for himself, and I know it just looked bad in general. If Minnesota was fully healthy and in games, they could have started out going up 2-0 if Ant was ready to, fully ready to go. I know he played. Dude, right after this Denver series, we were saying, man, Minnesota's got the perfect team for the playoffs, man, all this. And now we're trying to find a trade for them. I get it, though. You always have to continually try to get better, especially when you're looking at the Spurs and the Thunder, because I think people do recognize that. Hey, we were hurt, but also, even if we are healthy, the Spurs might just be better than us because they have the second best player in the world, potentially, in Victor Wembanyama. And OKC as the first. It's just going to be hard to get by. We have to continuously try to get better. But DiVincenzo got hurt. Anthony Edwards was playing on one leg, man. Minnesota could have beat San Antonio even with Anthony Edwards hurt. I'm going to be honest. I hate to bring this up. Wemby should have been suspended a game. I know you can't rely on that when you're building your roster. I'm just saying.
But he should have been.
Sure, trade Randall. I'm out on trading McDaniels, but I actually think he has maybe a little more value than the actual player he is. That might be crazy to say, but I think he's got some really high value. So if you do want to make a super, super all-in move, maybe you're looking to use him. I don't know, but I would stay. I'm gonna be honest. I would stay put, get healthy, and maybe add something at the deadline if you feel a need. I'm not going out to make a big swing. I'm bringing back Julius Randle.
I don't hate that route and that play either. I just think this is also a team, an organization that traded Karl Anthony Towns right before the season. So I think they have no shame in trading Julius Randle. They're always in the route of, this is Anthony Edwards' team. We're trying to get better. And realistically, the West is going to get even better. They are aggressive as can be. And kind of just thinking of a guy that they could possibly add. I think they desperately need another wing opposite Jaden McDaniels that can take on some on-ball assignments. And I think DiVincenzo was a huge loss in this series alone, just with the guard play of San Antonio, not having DiVincenzo as a spacer, has a guy that can defend. That hurt against all these guards that San Antonio has. If the Wolves were somehow able to add somebody like Andrew Wiggins caliber, I think that would desperately help their team. Somebody who is just it would be like bringing Andrew Wiggins back to Minnesota, but it would be somebody of his caliber, another wing that can do it all, defend at a high level when you need him to, can knock down some shots, just be a shot creator for him. I feel like that's the void on this team. I think they're just a little bit thin at that position. All in keeping Gobert, I think he's just too valuable a defender throughout just the regular season itself.
He's incredible.
He's too valuable of a defender. But I think Randall, if there's anybody that could go, it's probably Julius Randle.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and I like Julius Randle. There's a couple. It would probably be some sort of 3-team. I don't think Randle. You would have to give up a lot
Randall's
to get to Giannis. Yeah, he's good. I just think he ran into a series where it was just such a tough matchup,
especially with having to cover up for some of Anthony. I mean, Anthony Edwards was incredible even with the injury, but still, you had to do. You were asking more from him than you should have to ask for him. So I hate how everyone's trying to put the blame on just him.
Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna get into who they should go after and who they should go get because we're still so far away. It seems like from the offseason. Yeah. We'll get into that, but I do think possibly Randall, DiVincenzo with the injury, they're gonna bring back Io. Maybe those two contracts get you to a certain number that gets you maybe a couple depth pieces, or maybe you package that up and draft capital for a guy. I don't know who that guy is, but maybe that gets
Kyrie
you
Irving?
They'd be disgusting.
They would be.
They'd be disgusting.
Kyrie and Ant would be a crazy duo. Dallas, you're gonna have to give Dallas a fuck ton of shit to get Kyrie.
Yeah.
Even though he's old and coming off an injury. I mean, it'd take a lot just because Dallas ain't trying to lose a trade right now.
So we'll take Julius Randle over here in Phoenix.
Shit.
Okay, give him Dylan Brooks. Let's go McDaniels, Brooks, and Ant out there.
No, they want Jalen Green.
that hurt.
But like
Jalen Green and Anthony Edwards would not get along.
But we kind of talked already about Cavs Knicks. We can kind of talk a little bit about OKC Spurs that starts tomorrow. Then we can get into some we came up with some random NBA questions just to kind of get the ball rolling on some of that stuff. Just like us three brought together like 4 or 5 questions that we haven't asked on the pod before to just spark a quick conversation with that stuff. But we can get into Spurs OKC. A little bit of a preview because this is like one of the more hyped up series. J-Dub is officially playing game 1. It seems like, are trending to be that way, which is a good sign for OKC because I don't know if they would have. I don't know. This is like there hasn't been this much hype on a series going into it. I feel like in some time. Like, yeah, we got 7 games out of the finals last year. Like, the Pacers went on a crazy run.
Question.
I don't think there's been some hype around a series more than this one.
One of the Boston series, maybe?
You could say Boston, New York last year going into it. Maybe. I don't think it was up to the level.
Because New York built their team to beat Boston.
I think this might be a crazy hot take. This is the most anticipated series since possibly Golden State Houston in the Western Conference going into the series.
I like that. Because you can't even say Cavs Golden State because Golden State was always favored so much. You know, it was always like, shit, if LeBron does it. But I like that one. I like that.
Because I feel like once the Warriors got Durant, it was just kind of like they knew the Cavs were undermanned, undermatched for a team of that caliber. And I think the Rockets, just with that playstyle, offered a different challenge for Golden State. And I feel like that gave enough hype with how Harden was playing. You had Chris Paul. Like, that team was built to beat Golden State. So I think this is the first series that has that level of just like, damn, like, because I'm kind of torn. Like, I think OKC's for sure should be favored, but they've never played somebody like Victor Wembanyama like in a series.
Right.
Like, and you could argue that OKC, like outside of Denver last year, has kind of had a breeze in the playoffs for the most part.
I think they should definitely be favored. I know where I'm at, but I'm so excited for this series.
What's your prediction, Nick?
I'd say Thunder in 7. I don't think it's going to be as nitty-gritty as it gets, but I think they'll pull it out.
I got Thunder in 6. I think, here's my initial thoughts. Is Victor Wembanyama been arguably the best player in this playoffs? In his first playoffs? Yes. Is he something we've never seen before? Yes. So it's sometimes when I wanted to make my statement of, I think the NBA is one of them things, one of them sports where you kind of have to go through it to do it. Well, I do think that applies. I do think that there is an argument for saying, well, hey, yeah, that's true, but this is like an all-time great in the making, right? Maybe that's not true for him. And I would say that's fair. But I think, here's the thing. Will I use the regular season of the, was it 4-1? Spurs got him or something like that?
Yeah.
Will I use the Spurs and Timberwolves series? No, because I don't think it matters. OKC hasn't played anyone.
It truly doesn't. Yeah.
Any challenge. I don't think the Spurs have played anyone. I'll give respect to Minnesota. They have not played a team that's even close to the caliber of OKC. So if I throw everything out the window and I just think of what these teams are going to look like against each other, I got OKC. Because I think as good as Victor can be, OKC has all these different types of defenders that can take out the other guys. I don't see Dylan Harper having his way like he did in some of these games in this series. Do I think Stephon Castle is going to hit all his threes again like that? Maybe for one of the games, but I could fully see Chet Holmgren getting some possessions on guarding Stephon Castle. As crazy as it sounds, I think he's a very aggressive player and could just get downhill, but they're going to make him shoot. If trust De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, and Dylan Harper, because what they said about those guys is, hey, they're able to get downhill at will all season. OKC is going to have a game plan up to just take them out of it. And if Wemby can beat them 1-on-5, I think I could see them putting Caruso and J-Dub on Wemby with Chet Roman backside. And when it comes down to closing out in the big moments, I'm not going to doubt Wemby, but I'm going to put all of my trust in the best player in the world, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And that's why when it feels like, hey, this thing's going 7, I think in Game 5 in OKC, I think it's going to be 2-2. I think in Game 5, OKC's going to get it at home. It's going to go to Game 6, and everyone's anticipating this 7-game series. And Shai just absolute villain mode. I mean, everyone cheering for the Spurs. He's going to go into San Antonio, and he's going to get that Game 6. And I know exactly what the last 2 minutes of that game is going to look like. It's going to be a whole lot of Shai. and it's going to be J-Dub doing his thing all night, and then you're going to get an A.J. Mitchell, Jared McCain, or Casey Wallace big-time three where San Antonio calls a timeout and the arena's silent as ever.
I can kind of give my case for the Spurs here, with you guys going OKC. I can say the same thing about OKC. OKC hasn't faced guards with the athleticism that the Spurs have. And I think if there's anybody out west, yeah, they face Devin Booker and Jalen Green, who are great guards in themselves, but they don't have a Victor Wembanyama on their team or a De'Aaron Fox on their team. Like, I just think if there's any guard in the Western Conference I'd want to see guard SGA, it's Stephon Castle. I think that's going to be the matchup, and it's SGA for sure. But Stephon Castle is strong as shit, can go step for step, and I think Stephon Castle is just a good matchup. I'm not saying he's stopping SGA, because he's not just going to stop SGA. But fuck, if I'm having Stephon Castle and Wemby on the backside, I'm taking that shit. OKC hasn't faced a team like that with this much athleticism and shot blocking and the ability to just get out and transition and match OKC athletically when it comes to on-ball defense. They haven't faced that. They faced the Lakers, who were undermanned with no Luka, a Suns team that was clearly outmatched. And I can even go back to last year. Where did the OKC Thunder struggle with? Yeah. Where did the OKC Thunder struggle with last year? The Pacers. What did the Pacers have all year? Multiple guards that can handle the basketball. The Spurs have that. And the Spurs can push it and transition. Maybe not like the Pacers did last year, because with Halliburton, they were insane in transition. But they have guards, and multiple of them, that can handle the ball and deal with pressure. That's where OKC struggled with. And you brought up the Caruso on Vic. If they do that, they're getting fried. Yeah, you could do that cool-ass shit with Jokic, but Jokic is not the athlete Wemby is. Caruso, if they do that dumb shit, they'll lose a game because of it. Because as much as I like Caruso as a
on the perimeter, they're not going to let him eat post-ups. I mean, they'll double if he's shooting. He's shooting. I think, like I'm saying, they're going to take the other guards out of it and live with that. I like your sentiment of Indiana. I thought about that, and I was going to mention that. None of these guys are playing like how Tyrese Halliburton was playing last season.
No.
And also, I'm with you. I don't want to watch them have Caruso or J-Dub try to guard Wemby. My more idea here is that we're going to make Stephon Castle shoot maybe, and even if we don't, I want doubles on Wemby. I want doubles on Wemby. I more mean that. I don't want one-on-ones. If he goes in the post, Chet, get over here. We're not doing this. Make Wemby be a passer. Can Wemby be a playmaker this series? Can Wemby win the West being a playmaker, making his teammates better? Because we want to throw around this best in the world shit. Well, it's time to be a playmaker. It's time to be a playmaker. The greats do it. LeBron did it.
I just think when I'm looking at the Spurs, I think they match up well. I don't think these OKC guards are... Yes, they have great defending guards. The Spurs are bigger and just as athletic. You said Dylan Harper won't have the series he just did. I think he will. Dylan Harper's 6'5", 6'6", athletic as can be. Coming off the bench with the confidence that he has now, I think he'll be just fine. I think Stephon Castle's going to be just fine. I do worry about De'Aaron Fox because he can just be so-so sometimes, and I think he needs to be really good in the series for them to win. But I'm just looking at other guys. I'm looking at Devin Vassell, who's been lights out. Julian Champagnie, lights out.
Those two guys have a big series.
They have a lot of bodies.
They got to shoot.
The Spurs can go. Everything you can say about OKC.
No, they can't.
You can say about the Spurs. You can say about the Spurs.
You can can't tell me that Dylan Harper is gonna give work to Casey Wallace, Lou Dort, and Alex Caruso just because we just saw him give work to Mike Conley.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying more so, not body like player for player. If you say one trait that OKC has over the Spurs, I can argue the Spurs being almost as good as them. OKC, great defending team that is aggressive on the perimeter and can get in transition. The Spurs can do that. And they have Victor Wembanyama on the backside. I'm sorry, Chet Holmgren. You're not playing DeAndre fucking Ayton and Jackson Hayes.
The Spurs don't have the pop off the bench offensively that OKC has. Not at all.
We'll see. I'm picking OKC. But if I'm OKC,
stand your ground. Stand your ground.
I'm picking OKC because I just think SGA is that guy.
Me too.
You know what? No, I'm gonna take the Spurs.
No,
I'm gonna take the Spurs.
Baited him into it.
I'm gonna take the Spurs because I think this whole inexperienced shit is going to go out the window. This is the team in San Antonio that has been the only team outside of Indiana to consistently, in the regular season, I know it's regular season, consistently give OKC hell. Why? Because SGA loves to get downhill. Who's waiting on him? Victor Wembanyama. If OKC isn't hitting their threes, it's going to get scary.
Yeah,
and you're getting J-Dub off of Hammy.
We got Chet for Castle, so don't even worry about that. Castle want to get downhill. All of a sudden, Dylan Harper and Castle, they can take Casey Wallace and them. That's fine. You got this one, but Chet's down there. That's the third best defensive anchor in the game.
Well, I just think they have nothing for Wemby. They have nothing for him. And if the Spurs role players continue to play well, like Devin Vassell, Julian Champagnie, they're knockdown shooters, and Fox can be better, I think OKC's in for a hell of a series.
My one concern is that a lot of what, and I'm going to do a whole J-Dub thing, don't worry. You know that's my guy. But Chet, I've really loved how Chet has played this playoffs, but it has been against Maluach and who the fuck did the Suns start at center?
I think we were starting Iguodala.
Yeah, also Iguodala.
Yes.
Jackson Hayes, DeAndre Ayton.
Jackson Hayes. He's dominated them, and Wemby is obviously a whole nother monster, and that does worry me. And yes, there's the narrative that Chet gets scared when he plays Wemby, and they don't like each other, and I'm all in for it. I think that I understand it's off of him. In big series, Jalen Williams rises to the occasion, and I think that, yes, Wemby is maybe the second best player in the world. That Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams punch offensively and what Jalen Williams is going to be able to give you defensively, even off this injury, he's been ready to play. They aren't rushing him back against the Lakers. They know they're going to win that series. He was cleared for Game 1 of San Antonio. He's been cleared for that for weeks internally. I guarantee you.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to remind y'all who the fuck he is and what type of playoff performer he is. And yes, is Castle, Fox, and Harper an amazing trio of guards. But give me Shai and J-Dub over those three 7 days out of the 7 days. And I know that's not fair because it's Wemby's their best player. But the team defense of OKC is better than the team defense of San Antonio. Is Wemby the most impactful player? But I can rely that every single night, what OKC does defensively is going to be there. If Wemby wants to go superhuman and get his, and he's going to have a couple games where he does that 100%, that can happen. But I am all the way convinced that these guards for San Antonio are going to have the hardest time they've had ever. This is not going to look like the regular season games. This is not going to look like the Christmas Day game.
Up to this point in the playoffs, you can say that for both teams. Because I don't think OKC's played anything like San Antonio, and I don't think San Antonio's played anything like OKC. So I think it's worse in both ways.
They both know what they're going into, though. These teams know what they're going into.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's just such a good matchup to where you have to nitpick some things. I just think I just think OKC, if they don't get because he's coming off the injury still, a really good J-Dub series, I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. And I think a lot of people are just going OKC because they've been there, done that. But they need J-Dub. This isn't like you're playing the Lakers and like you're fine with SGA being mid. Like you can't have that against the Spurs. Like we just saw Anthony Edwards give his absolute everything in some of these games, and nobody else came to the party. I can see some games, maybe a game or two, where it's like SGA is doing everything he can, and like OKC's just not hitting shots.
Bro, we were talking about Minnesota is going to beat San Antonio. We were talking about that while Ant was hurt. We were talking about that. People deadass thought that was the world. This is the defending champs OKC Thunder with the best player in the world, with their second best player coming back, with the Defensive Player of the Year candidate on the roster. I know Wemby's Wemby. I know this is the rivalry. We cannot forget who OKC is. If Wemby would have lost to, I know he didn't. I'm just saying. It looked for a second he might lose to a one-legged Anthony Edwards. And they want to put him in fucking Shea combos already. I love Wemby, but it's getting fucking crazy out here.
Since y'all went with OKC, I'll go with San Antonio. Pleading my case for San Antonio because I think it's just going to be such a good series.
You have a strong case. It is going to be.
I gotta see how both teams match up with each other game one. Because it's not like the Spurs just got out of like a grueling 7-gamer and got to turn around, go to OKC and like play OKC. But it's like OKC, yeah, they handled the Lakers and swept the Lakers. But it's like the Lakers defense was giving them a little bit of with no J-Dub. And they're getting J-Dub back, but what capacity? So I think it's interesting. I think there's two teams that haven't played a team up to that caliber, and we're in the conference finals, obviously, but it's just like it's styles. Like their two styles like really clash in this series. And I'm very interested to see how it unfolds for game one. And I ain't gonna lie to you, Cavs Knicks is gonna be a banger. Like Cavs Knicks
these should be two pretty good conference finals.
Tomorrow night, man, OKC Spurs. Man, we should stream that bitch on playback. Barrel talk playback.
But
Chet
we
has
can
a chance
get
to
into
gain a lot of people's respect, by the way. I just want to say that. Wemby's going to play better than him, but if Chet has a good series, he's going to stamp himself as a top. I don't care what the number is, but you know what I'm saying. He's going to be a certified center. He already is.
He could gain some ground in a lot of people's lists with the good performance here. But
he just has to play well.
To wrap up the episode,